G'day guys, Duckville here with you today. We're going to watch a match from the Team Liquid This Week in Replay pack number 24, I think it is. This is from our wonderful, previously random, previously Protoss, previously Terran at one point player, the little one, who's going to be starting down here as a Zerg this time, in the red on Shakura's Plateau. His opponent is going to be in the blue, a Protoss up in the top left-hand side. Now, this particular game, I have not seen it, but it was suggested to me by the very, very cool and helpful Mr. Aries Effort from TL. He's one of the very wonderful people on the staff there at TL who helped put together the TWIR replay packs that come through from the Team Liquid guys every now and then. They're very cool, and make sure you jump onto the website there and actually grab the replays yourself. You can have a quick look, you can see how these guys played out this particular match. Of course, this is from the EU server, no doubt about that. We've got a lot of great players over there in EU, and we'll see how LoCo goes today here. He's against, of course, TLO, who's just a fantastic player, can pull out some very interesting strategies, and all sorts of crazy stuff can come about when TLO is in a game. But we'll find out what they're going to get to in just a moment. It looks as if we've got TLO just going to head down and take his expansion in just a second, checking out the back of the minerals there just to make sure there's no pesky probe just poking around. Speaking of which, the probe does come along, and it looks as if TLO is just going to get that hatchery down before the probe is able to intercept and get quite annoying by just putting down a pylon or something along those lines. Looks as if LoCo is going to go for his own Forge Fast Expand. Of course, this map just massively easy for both races to get a nice quick expansion going. You generally will never see Protoss go out and just do a one base expand style because it's just not viable. You can wall up the front quite easily with a forge, a gateway, and then you can either take your pick as to whether you full wall with a cybernetics core or you put a pylon down and leave a little space for units to get out, which is generally the better way to do it. But here we go, we've got LoCo getting into a little bit of strife here. His probe has just put down a pylon. It looks as if the probe is going to, he gets away, and looks as if that was just to provide a little bit of an annoyance there for TLO. He did have to bring down a few of these drones, and they grabbed some minerals while they were there, but it's nothing too much to deal with for TLO. And of course, LoCo only loses a little bit of minerals, so it's not too much of a problem for him either. Now, of course, as we mentioned, for the Zerg players, it's also quite easy to expand against a Protoss that takes a Forge Fast Expand. You'll generally always see Zergs like to take this third base up here. From time to time, you can catch a very sneaky Zerg who'll take one of the bases here, but that's I don't think that's the best way to play it because it does put the hatchery in a very vulnerable spot. It's, of course, visible from the Zelnaga Watchtower as well. We've got an epic battle in the middle here. The drone should win. The drone's on a tiny bit higher HP here. He's one shot ahead, so I think this probe will retreat for the moment. He's going to head back to the safety of the hills and the cannon that's just here. It looks as if LoCo is going to go for the bit more of a standard wall off, where you do leave a little bit of a space here for a zealot to stand in, and of course for a probe to get out later on and cause some more mischief later on the map. Of course, you do need it's just easier than sacrificing a building. Generally, players will like to, if you do like a full wall off with a cybernetics core, you'll generally see them take out the gateway or sometimes the forge once one of the weapon upgrades is completed. So this is one way to play it, I think, a little bit better. Now, LoCo does have both of his gas at the main, so he's just going for standard sorts of things here. We'll be interested to see if he does take the third and the fourth gas here at the natural expansion, because that can signal what he is going to go for. This map tends to lead to Protoss going for generally some sorts of 6-gate timings. And of course, blink stalkers can be very nice. You can blink up here if you've got some vision, and then up the back as well. We see Liquid Hero do that quite a lot on this map when he's against Zerg, and of course you can get prisms all over the place from him. We'll see if LoCo is going to go down that particular path. Here we go. He does take the third and the fourth gas. Just waiting to see what his actual tech path is. Of course, with an Overlord floating about, you don't want to reveal the tech too easily. TLO, meanwhile, has taken a 1, 2, and 3 extractors to make sure he's getting his gas coming out in a swift time. I think we're still sort of waiting, but this could be something along the lines of just a standard sort of roach defense, just waiting for that 6-gate to come along, or he could head out and get some mutas a little bit later, but normally you'd see a little bit more gas coming out. So we'll find out what the plan is from TLO very soon. Both the Queens doing a good job getting their injects done, and as I say that, he forgets this one here. I'm not sure what's up with that, but a little bit surprised to not see the third queen. It is actually just starting now, so he's perhaps a tiny bit behind with that queen, but we've got one just heading out now. You'll normally see a third queen to get some creep spread started, but in this particular case, what he's going to do is send this queen from the natural across to the third to make sure there is a queen there ready to defend. Meanwhile, we've got the robotics facility just coming about here for LoCo. He's got +1 to weapons in the forge, and that is spinning up nice and tidy. Warp gate is still on the way as well. It looks as if we will have some sort of gateway-based push, I would suspect. We're still sort of waiting to see how many are there. We've got 3 across to the side, bringing it to 4. We've got a 5th now across to this side as well, so this could be a push with +1 weapons, or perhaps just some sort of a lower volume attack on the third base. But we'll find out in just a minute. It looks as if an observer is going to head across to try and find out exactly what TLO is up to. He's got the Roach Warren completing just in time, sync that quite nicely with the lair as well. Going to start Roach speed, of course, and then the Evo upgrades are coming along. We've got melee weapons here. A little bit surprising to see that from TLO. So there could be something with, I'm not actually sure just yet. Yeah. One weird thing which I've seen lately is this weird little Baneling and a Roach timing by some Zergs, where you get +1 on those Banelings and they just smash through the buildings really quickly, and then the Roaches have free reign over the base. But it looks as if that's not going to be the case here. We don't have anything along those lines coming along, but wait, what? Okay, we've got 3 Evo chambers. So we've got weapons for melee and missile attacks, as well as Carapace coming along here from TLO. So he's going upgrade friendly over here. We've got an Overseer just checking out what's going on inside the base. We don't want the APM tab because that one's not cool at all. Actually, I'll tell you what. Let's have a look at the APM. This is what I'm still confused as to what Blizzard did with this, because this one is the APM that shows like the actual commands, like the Blizzard sort of version of an APM, whereas where's the other one? I think it's, there it is, the commands per minute. There you go, you got TLO sitting up at 200, yeah, I have no clue what's going on with that, but looks as if LoCo is he's not going to go for an attack of some variety. What he's actually going to do is head out and take this third expansion very quickly. Of course, as a Protoss, if you can hit up that third base in nice timing, you can actually be looking very good, and you can pick up some Colossi and head across the map and start doing some damage once that third base is up, and it gets very difficult for Zerg to deal with. Now, he's got those fuel mortals there along with the sentries as well, and it looks as if TLO is just pushing into the middle of the map. He's really started to crank out the units here. We've got 6 more Roaches on the way. He's just pushing inside. He does have +1 to Carapace done. The melee attacks is also done, I believe. Yes, it is. And missile is just about to complete. So if TLO could just hold back for just a second, he'll have upgrades all over the place, and it will be very nice. And here we go. It looks as if he's trying to go for a flank attack from the back. Some links coming through. Beautiful force fields there from LoCo. It looks as if he has kept back most of the Roaches, but they slip through the top side, and the Immortals are trying to do as much damage as they can. The Roach is starting to dwindle now, but the Immortals have started to get a bit lower as well, not to mention the rest of the units here for LoCo. The Roach is still going to town on the rest of these units here. The Immortals trying to head back. There's some nice micro from LoCo to try and pull them back, but the Roaches have had to retreat for the time being here. Now, we've got 26 Lings on the way. We've got some more Roaches coming through from TLO as well. He's doing a good job with resupplying that army. He's getting more upgrades as well. We've got +1 to melee attacks and, +2 to melee attacks and Carapace on the way. The 4th base is done. 3rd base for LoCo is just on the way now, and he's getting some cannons to make sure this is adequately defended once this attack comes through. But it looks as if TLO is getting ready to push in. We've got really nice position here from LoCo, but I'm not sure he has enough force fields to defend this quite easily. But there are quite a lot of sentries there. He does have a little bit of energy left over now after that. I think that TLO might be just looking to try and keep the pressure on while he gets the 4th base up and running. And once that's up, and even a potential 5th base can come up very soon as well, he'll be in a very good spot. Now, in terms of tech, we still do not have any Colossi coming out from LoCo just yet, but he's having to deal with some big attacks here. We've got Roaches and Lings down at the southern side. Meanwhile, Lings heading in at the top as well, taking down some of the cannons, just really sort of downsizing the cannon count, protecting that 3rd base, and LoCo's going to have to rebuild those very quickly here. because if he doesn't, he's going to have a lot of roaches on his hands with no way to defend it apart from the small gateway immortal force that he has prepared. There are a lot of sentries here which do help out. Of course, he can force field up this and keep some of those Zerg units trapped. But and now, wow, TLO has brought in the he's doing the old trick, which is something you don't see too often, which is to bring an overlord into the middle, drop down some creep, and get some creep chimers started in the middle. Now, the reason this is very good is because, of course, you get the big head start on the creep positioning here, and then once this is all linked up with the rest of the creep that's coming from the main base, you are just in really good position with the creep spread. It means the roaches can get back into position quite easily and retreat if need be. But it looks as if, wow, this is still starting to look a little bit crazy here for LoCo. He does have the third base, and it's starting to look like it's getting nicely defended. However, the problem he's got is still way behind on the blink here. I'm not sure about what the timings were with this build. It seems like he was a little bit behind, even though TLO didn't actually get too much damage done. But there are a lot of immortals now. We don't need the Colossi as much just yet, considering the massive roach count here. Roaches have got +2 to their carapace now, so they're going to be rejecting a lot of the damage that these immortals are trying to do, but the immortals still, with their +2, are doing 60 damage to armored, so if they're targeted nicely, he should be able to clean up a lot of these roaches, and he does catch some of them. TLO not able to keep the fight on his own terms there. The force field's holding back a lot of the protective units there, and that meant that the immortals were able to go to town on those roaches. TLO, he's been teching up. Meanwhile, back at base, he's got the infestors coming along. They're really going to help out, and it looks as if we may have another battle in the middle here. The Ling's getting in the way of the roaches there. I'm not sure what was going on with the control there from TLO, but he's kept everything. He's doing a great job of spreading out these overlords as well. I just noticed on the minimap, he's got some really good vision from all of these overlords, not to mention he's controlling both of the... Wait, no, he's not. Okay, he's not controlling the watchtowers. That was a little bit odd, but you can be sure he's probably going to in just a second. The creep spread still spreading through this middle section here. Would like to see if TLO can push it a little bit further inside, but could be the observers. Where are they? Oh, there they are. Okay, cool. Got an observer there, but TLO once again trying to push forward. Some Lings heading through. There is a fourth base here, which is not going to survive too long against all these Lings. They have +2 too. They're going to be doing quite a lot of damage. They do not have adrenal glands just yet, but I will be sure that is on the way soon. Stalker's blinking up to the top, taking the high ground position there. They think they're Anakin Skywalker, and they're going to just try and defend from the high ground there, and they should be okay. It looks as if TLO is just going to back off for now. He's got the fourth base up, waiting to see if he's... there he is. He's got a fifth base started here, down inside the protected area at the 6 o'clock position. Don't often see anyone take that base, but... he is sitting here with a nice position looking into that third base. The fourth base was stopped by TLO, so the creep spread, of course, being quite annoying there. A couple of defensive cannons going up for LoCo. Meanwhile, back at home for him, he's finally started the Colossi production. We got double Robo going to be kicking out those Colossi quite soon. Extended Thermal Lance just about to complete as well. And just looking at the upgrades for LoCo as well, he's currently sitting on +3 to weapons. We've got +1 to armor just about on the way as well, halfway done. The double Colossi are really going to start kicking in just a second, and he should be able to do a nice amount of damage against some of TLO's units here. We've still got just a lot of roaches, Lings, and some infestors here. Great catch by the infestors with the fungal growth, able to take down some of these stalkers here, and it looks as if TLO is going to try and push in and capitalize on that. Does not get too much more done, but he's been able to grab some of those, which is quite nice, and considering the Broodlords are finally on the way, this is going to look very, very good for TLO in just a second. Going to start up that 6 o'clock, the 6th base as well. And once he gets that up and running, we're going to be in a really nice spot. Now, looking at the upgrades again, just having a quick look at what TLO is up to. He's got +3 to armor already done, +2 to missile weapons is also done, and 3 is on the way. The Lings have +3 as well, so he's going to be looking quite good. LoCo, meanwhile, is going to have to get something to defend against these Broodlords. He can see that they're there, and he's obviously going to need to start dealing with those very soon. Some spine crawlers are going to be coming through into the middle section here, drones being used up. I love seeing that in the late stage of the game when you're sort of sitting at this very high drone count. You don't have to spend things on the units all the time. You can put some into the drones and then just pull back on that drone count, but it looks as if LoCo is ready to go. He's got Stalkers at the front. Not sure why they're still not being blinked back, but it looks as if he is going to get inside, take down a couple of the Broodlords. Colossi doing a lot of damage to the remaining ground forces there for TLO as well. A couple of Corruptors now coming in. In fact, a whole bunch of Corruptors now just moving in here to try and take down the Colossi while the Stalkers are busy with the Broodlords. And it looks as if TLO is going to hold this middle position yet again. So he's sitting quite nicely here. We'd love to see him just start to really push in on that third base. If he can get rid of that, he'll be in a really good spot here. Now, just looking at the minerals, we've got nothing left inside the main. We've got more gateways coming up. The natural, not looking like it's going to be mined out too soon because the probe count there is quite low. In fact, the probe count overall is sitting at 66. It's not too low, but it's not always where you see it at this stage of the game. We are 20 minutes in. Perhaps it could be a tiny bit higher, but LoCo is again dealing with another Ling run by here. The cannon's doing what they can, but the Lings did get inside, and now they are going to be able to do quite a lot of damage. They have picked up a few kills on those probes there. Some Zealots swapping in, the probes retreating to the cannon line, and he should be okay for the time being. But DTs are here for LoCo. He's gotten 5 kills inside the natural there, and that is going to head back inside the main. The interesting thing that I really like from what TLO has done is that he doesn't have all his tech in the one place. You normally see a lot of Zergs will have the Spire down in this position somewhere, and you can easily get inside with a DT or two or a Warp Prism and get that destroyed. But TLO has done, I've seen him do this recently quite a lot. It's very cool. He'll put the Spire up and then protect it with some Evo chambers or another type of building, and then have a Spine and a Spore ready to protect against any sorts of run-by attacks from a DT or anything like that. Speaking of DTs, another one has gotten inside. There is a second Spire just over here, which was looking at getting some upgrades done. TLO is starting to lose some of his drone count here. He's down to 46, so he's struggling a tiny bit here, but he's started to make sure he's protected. It looks as if LoCo is starting to move through the middle as well. We got a lot of Stalkers in the mix here for LoCo. He's currently got a total of 29 Stalkers. We've got 3 Colossi, some Archons as well, and then some Sentries to back it all up, and he should be looking good, but there are so many Broodlords up in the air there for TLO. He's got 1-1 on these, so they're going to be doing quite a lot of damage, and we'll see if he is going to be able to push in and take this down. I would think, given that he can use the cover of this high ground here, not to mention this this cliff section over to the right, he should be alright. But here we go, DTs are now in the mix of this group, which is quite interesting here for TLO to deal with. Beautiful fungal on the top of the high ground there, which has done a great job of holding back the Stalkers that were going to capitalize on their position and take down the Broodlords, but LoCo forced the GG. He was just in a terrible spot there. The Stalkers getting absolutely mowed down by those Broodlords, and there was still a whole bunch of Broodlords to try and defend against, so he was just in a lot of trouble there. Despite getting some good kills with the DTs and lowering the drone count, it was just not enough, and without a fifth base coming along, he was going to be in a lot of trouble. So great game from TLO there. As I said, make sure you jump on the Team Liquid website and have a look at the replay pack for yourself. There's some great games in there, including a best of 7 from TLO and Whiterun. Great stuff to watch. I'll be grabbing a couple more TLO replays and putting them up very soon. Cheers.